So I just got done presenting at a special needs dads conference this morning. Working with dads is definitely a different experience because let's just face it, dads tend to be just a different role at the IEP table than a mom. And we had a lot of great discussions about dads and how they can know more about the process and get more involved, and not just when things are going poorly. But we had one conversation this morning that just it's a common conversation, and it's extremely unfortunate, and we have to start doing things different, and it has to do with inclusion. So this dad shows up this morning and he's like, I've got two kids and they both have IEPs, and one kid, and he describes what's going on and how this child is in a more intensive environment, more of a therapeutic day school type of environment. And it's exactly what the child needs. All good. Now, his older child has a different set of needs, right? Every kid's different. Doesn't matter that they have similar diagnosis. Every kid's different. And they tried a different placement for this child for the last couple of years, which we all know last couple of years, this past school year, as close to normal as possible, right? But this was really the first year that this child was getting exposure into a public school, and they wrote an IEP that, in my opinion, is very typical when it comes to an inclusion plan inside of an IEP. Child will be included in PE, art, music, recess, lunch. Seriously? Come on. That's not an inclusion plan, okay? That doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. We cannot just say, here's a child who has significant learning needs, needs different supports. And most of the time that means that a child needs some predictability, that the child needs some structure. The child needs to know what the expectations are. Child needs to know a lot of things for them to be successful. And a lot of things have to be in place for the child to be successful. So raise your hand if you've ever experienced an inclusion plan written into the IEP that just says child will be included in, and they're put into these extra classes. Okay. Now I want you to think about your experience in school. Go to gym class, it's a hot mess. Go to PE, right? You don't know what game you're playing. You don't know what the rules are. You're not sure where everybody's going to line up, and everybody's so excited to be there that they're bouncing off the walls. But yet this is where a child's supposed to be successful at, when they've spent, a lot of their day possibly learning in a direct instruction type environment. And then it's like, woo, go to gym with an aide. Good luck. And just so you know, that PE teacher, they didn't get any training on how to support your child with the IEP. And teachers who are listening to this, you guys already know. You already know. It's like, yeah, I cross my fingers. I do my best. I set my students up as much as possible for success. But gosh, it's kind of hopefully it works out. Art class. How many kids who are, let's say, receiving a lot of their instructions in a special education classroom have fine motor challenges? But yet, let's go to art class where everything has to do with gluing and cutting. And a lot of times there's sensory concerns too, right? Let's touch those cotton balls and make our snowman. Stop it. Okay? It's not setting a child up for success. Let's look at music. All right? Whew. Music is a lot. You either love it or you hate it. It doesn't matter what your ability level is. You either love it or you hate it. Like glockenspiels. I don't know, rhythm blocks, rhythm sticks, trying to, just kind of stay on task, as sometimes we're loud, sometimes we're quiet, but we don't know what's coming up next. These are difficult situations. So inclusion plans that are set up for the child's going to go to the fun classes, it's usually not so fun. So this dad that I'm talking to right now, he's like, this is how the school day was set up, and it was supposed to be so great. And now my child's failing, and now they want to move my child. Remember, I said he's got two children. One's in one school, one's in another school. Now they want to take this child who did not do so well and move him to the other school. Now, could that other school be the right placement for this child? Absolutely could be. But did that child possibly have a negative year because the school environment wasn't set up to truly be supportive, that we did this old school version of inclusion where we just said, that here you go. Hopefully this will work out. I want to make sure that you guys have some really good questions to ask before your next IEP meeting. And this is for parents, teachers, admins, therapists. There's 12 questions on this IEP checklist that can help you make sure that you are not looking at the IEP the same way that we did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. All right. There's a lot of old school habits. What I'm describing to you is an old school habit. This is how inclusion works. That's not how inclusion is successful most of the time. And we have to do something extremely creative, and it's possible. One of my favorite things is that I've probably ever done when it came to consulting for a school was down in Kentucky. I flew down to Kentucky. I'm going through a child's school day. Child's not doing so well in inclusion. Very similar situation to what I just described there. And I said, this kiddo loves to read. He loves to read. Why are we not doing inclusion during reading time? Oh, because the child's like 4 levels below. So what? Give him his own book that he can read next to his peers. Parallel activity. Fantastic chance for this child to get to be around his peers doing something that he loves, fully supported and fully independent at the same time. So making that switch in that child's school day, he blossomed because he was no longer being expected to run into the gym, which, by the way, kiddo was a runner. So everybody thought this kiddo was a runner, right? We all know what that means, right? We all know runner. When I got there, he was a runner. Check up with the school later. He's not a runner. He was running because the environment was so uncomfortable. That is an expected behavior. If I am uncomfortable, I'm getting up and walking out of the room. All right. Maybe not every room, but you know what I'm saying. If I have the choice, the opportunity, I'm not staying where I'm uncomfortable. This child did not want to stay where he was uncomfortable. So what? Okay. Let's look at that. Let's figure out school should not be extremely uncomfortable all of the time. Do we have to go through uncomfortable moments to grow? Yes, we do. Should a child be expected to be uncomfortable and grow at the same time all the time? No, absolutely not. In fact, our best growth will happen when you trust the environment and you trust the people around you. That takes a lot of work in a school to build trust. And I'm not talking between parents and teachers. I'm talking for students. So we have to work on changing our thought on what inclusion is. Inclusion is an experience, not a place, and a child should feel included from the time they get onto campus to the time that they leave. They should be included where they have strengths, not focused on where their weaknesses are when it comes to inclusion. Inclusion itself, meaning being around peers who are much different than you, is hard. Is that hard for you? It's hard for me. Being around peers that are much different than you. So that's a difficult situation. And it's something that we need to be supportive of our students. And I'm not talking about it being uncomfortable for the general education students. I'm talking about for the person, for the child who has the IEP, who learns differently. We need to be respectful of how much it takes for them to go into an environment to be around peers that could be very different than them. And we have to build trust, and we have to build relationships, we have to build opportunities, and we have to look at strengths. So I want to encourage you, as you are wrapping up this school year, you're looking to the next school year. I know you're tired, exhausted, burnt out, staff shortages, parent burnout, all the things are happening, but we have to get some things in alignment because we don't want to go through some of the struggles that we had this year. We don't want to go through those struggles next year, right? So are there some things that you can do that don't take a ton of time or a ton of energy, but you just have to know the right questions to ask at the right time? Yes, it's possible. Go over to IEPchecklist.com. Just go download the list of questions. You know what? And if you're just super, super tired, you're like, I can't even think about it. I totally get it. But go over there. All you do is put in your name and email. I'm going to send it to you. Just save it. Just save it. And one day you're going to be like, I need to prep for this IEP meeting. I'm going to go find that list. Okay. So just go get the list of questions, whether you use it now or use it later. We got to get out of the habit of creating things like inclusion plans that don't work and then completely uprooting a child and moving them to other placements because you're like, this didn't work. when maybe it wasn't that this didn't work. Maybe we didn't do it the right way. Maybe we didn't set the child up for success. Maybe we need to look at things differently. And here's the thing, I get really excited and kind of hyped up about this because I've seen it so many times. I've seen the small changes, big impact. No conflict with these changes because they were so small and so easy. Huge impact, huge leap forward towards desired outcome of a child becoming part of the school community when we make these small tweaks. Some of those things you're going to learn right there in that IEP checklist. So, I'm thinking of all of you at the end of this school year, and it's a lot. There's a lot of feelings at the end of the school year. There's a lot of overwhelm that can happen at the end of the school year. There's just a lot of things. And just know that you're not alone. It's okay if you have decision fatigue, right? Do you guys know that term, right? Decision fatigue, like you're just tired of making decisions. Totally get it. All right. Grab the resource, keep it, use it, and just know that things can be different. You don't have to accept the same thing all the time. And that's for both parents and teachers. When a child is not successful in their environment, it impacts, of course, the student most, but it impacts both teachers and parents. And that's why you have to work together. And I know you guys know it, but there's ways to do it. There's conversations that need to be had. So we can stop doing things like plopping a child into a PE class and crossing our fingers and hoping it's going to work out, but that we can do things like find that reading class where they can be successful. All right, everyone. Hang in there, take a deep breath. Do something for you today. I don't care if it's 5 minutes of hiding in the bathroom, just so you can get some peace and quiet and watch some, I don't know, TikToks or Reels or whatever you're going to watch, right? Like, I don't care if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just do something. Do something for yourself for this last push towards the end of the school year. I'll talk to you guys soon.